should be good now. Hello everyone, welcome back to day 5, creating 3D models with Blender for NFT usage, eventually. Right now we're just learning the program, but so it's been a little bit since my last stream. I think it was last Friday. I said that I would be off Saturday and that I would be back Sunday or Monday, but I ended up having a longer weekend than I thought and moved in back to school yesterday, so that's why everything around me looks different, and so had a little bit of a stressful time doing that, so had to get that in check before I could stream. But we're back, trying to start doing daily streams again. At least an hour long is the goal. Just keep working on it. And my friend Debo, who I'm working on the NFT portion of this project on, is given me a general timeline of looking for around 2 weeks to start getting some of these NFT models at least in production. I can take as much time as I need because I think we're going to try to just make sure that this is done correctly as opposed to rushed, but we obviously want everything to come out as good as possible, but I'm going to shoot for around 2 weeks. Might be a little tough with classes, and I do have some issues with my schedule I gotta sort around, so we'll see how that plays into everything, but other than that, I should be just trying to be back on my daily schedule. So yeah, for right now, I nearly have finished tutorial 1. I just need to add small little support structures right here that I've talked about for the last 2 streams. But after that, I'm gonna start working on tutorial 2 and then start working on the roof, as the title says. Basically, it's just gonna be like a bunch of shingles like coming off. A little bit more of like a unique shape, not organic, but not like as structured as like the wood is. The wood is still like has these curves which were like done on purpose. It's not like it was a straight bar and I made it like that. It's not like off because I can't fix it or anything. But so this is what we worked on in our previous streams, so I'm just gonna hop back into it and get back to work on it. I will probably be a little bit slower just getting back into the shortcuts and all that, but I do still have my notes that I have been taking over the past couple streams, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to get back into working on all this stuff. So Saturday, well, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. The reason I couldn't stream Saturday is I was shoveling snow in the morning, shoveling and salting for a contractor with my buddy, and we were getting paid fairly well for that, so I was excited to do that. I wanted to focus time on that, and so anyway, that's the reason. And then that night, rather, I went and hung out with that friend and another one, and we just had a good time. Just did just hung around. Nothing suspicious at all. Nothing happened. But we Sunday I woke up and sorry, I'm trying to figure out this placement. I'm struggling with the camera. Sunday woke up and had to drive 40 minutes back home, which was fine, but I was a little bit late to work at a pizzeria where I also am a delivery driver, and sorry, so I was a little late to the shift on Sunday. I got there, and sorry, I'm not sure. I'm trying to tell my story, but this object, I don't know why the shortcuts are. I'm sure I'm just not remembering the shortcuts properly, but I think never mind. I'm just being weird. Anyway, rather, Sunday night, I got home from work pretty late, and I wanted to stream then, get back on my schedule, but I had to pack up for school, because I was supposed to leave this weekend, but I had a late move-in, so I had to pack up Sunday night, and then moving in Monday, unpacking everything took a little bit longer than I was hoping for, and I wanted to get back into going to the gym, so I had to at least start that. Oops, let me bevel this first. So I was excited to do that. Last semester I was doing the gym pretty frequently. I was actually going like 6 times a week for 2 months at the end, and I was eating pretty good. I was trying to bulk a little bit up because I'm pretty skinny, as you can see, but I just wanted to put on a little bit of size. Normally I just lift just to be healthy, but I had a little goal for myself of trying to like put on size, as I said. What is the sorry, I think proportional editing is correct. Nope. Actually, oh wait, is that what I've been doing wrong? That makes so much more sense. Okay. Beforehand, when it was like moving this whole pillar, it was an issue. It's because I had it set too strongly, and I wasn't sure how to change that previously. Okay. Yeah, it's much better. I still have to warp it up slightly, but. What was I saying? So anyway, rather, Monday I had to move in. I was trying to get back into the gym, and so I did that, and then I ended up meeting with some friends just some friends from school, and just catching up took a little bit longer than I obviously that's fine. I wanted to see them, but just took a little bit longer than I thought, and than I thought it would, and yeah, so I just didn't end up getting to stream last night, but now I'm back trying to get on my schedule again. I apologize for my 2 followers that I have. I'm not sure if one of them is watching right now. Someone's watching, but yeah, I'm quite excited to be back. I honestly miss being on stream. It's actually pretty exciting to like just go live. I'm not sure if if any of you have tried it before, but I really have been having fun with the times I have been live, so I recommend it highly if you ever get a chance to stream or try it. It's pretty cool. In my one art class today, there was a self-promotion board, and I shamelessly went up there and put Twitch TV / Jameson Edie, and I think someone followed me. I got an email or a little bit around the time that I put it there, saying that someone did. So it got me at least 1 follower, so that's kind of hype. What is the? Okay. I do remember all the shortcuts. I thought I would forget all of them. But I forget why I brought up that. Did I lose it? No. Okay. Rotate around the. But yeah, it got me a follower, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty nervous about if I had the opportunity. I would really like if art could be like my main thing. I really am passionate about it. It's like one of the things that actually makes me happy, but it's obviously fairly difficult to make money, or at least that's the perception that I have always been left with. Which I mean, it's fairly pessimistic, but I think it's also realistic as well. I think if you make it, it's obviously fantastic, and I'm trying to think of how I should word this. Obviously, if you're fortunate enough to make it in art, you're like like there's some element of luck in that. I feel like obviously you have to be extremely talented and have a great work ethic and be able to repeatedly come up with great art. Like you can't just like have a one-hit wonder and then expect to be paid like infinitely for it. But on the same hand, like I think it's extremely like it's hard. You need to have a certain mind to like be one of the greats. Like you can't think how everyone thinks. Like you need to do things that are like completely new. You need to, as like cliche as it is, like you need to be like the trendsetter. You need to be the one that everyone's trying to copy, that everyone's trying to be. You want everyone to want to be like you. That's what you should strive for. You shouldn't strive to be anyone else. So that's kind of just went a little inspirational there, but it is true in my humble opinion. Okay, I don't want to spend I already have spent 17 minutes. I talked for a little bit, so not consider it the entire time. But I do want to spend most of the time working on the roof, since that's new material. Okay. What is that? Okay. I think that's fine. So this is what she looks like so far. Pretty happy with that. Okay, so now we're gonna go to tutorial 2.
Hello once again, and welcome to Gab at Me.
I'm so sorry. And we're going to watch
Yeah, I'm Grant Abbott.
Grant Abbott screaming at us. Okay. So, I don't feel like these parts of the stream probably aren't the most entertaining because it's just me following along, trying to learn myself. As I've said before, I feel like I am a little bit more talkative, or rather like able to commentate when I'm like just like when I was just like building on the structure on its own. So forgive me if I'm not talking as much. I also need to actually like learn the program as much as I want the stream to be entertaining. There's benefits and there's pros and cons rather to live streaming your learning progress, because you want to actually be good so you can improve. So I'm just gonna have to do it.
And in today's tutorial, we'll be working on our well. I'll try and show you lots of new techniques this time. The idea being to improve your modeling skills, not just to have a nice outcome. This is part 2, so make sure you've had a look at part 1. As always, you can check out my website for lots of courses from beginner to advanced levels and all the courses free. It's worth just quickly noting as well that I'm using lots of reference images, as you can see here, and this is not in any way original. This tutorial is also influenced by Iris Hogley, particularly when it came to the bend technique of creating the base of the well. I saw his tutorial and loved the idea, so used it in mine, and unfortunately that's...
Also, for my one viewer in chat, if it's too loud, just let me know. I can turn it down or adjust the volume, or if you want me to turn it up, just let me know.
Why the first video got a copyright strike. Iris felt that this was an identical copy of his, which was not my intention at all. There are slight differences, but I can see why he got upset. But I've spoken to him now, and he's happy for me to continue. And it's also worth pointing out his work is fantastic. He works in Maya, but his techniques are fantastic, and his art style is brilliant. So even if you are a Blender enthusiast, take a look at some of his speed art videos, and you can get some ideas about how to create your own pieces. Anyway, so today's lesson we're looking at the roof tiles, and the way I've gone about creating them is to start off with a plane. So I'm going to start it down the bottom here, shift right click to bring my cursor to this point, and shift A, mesh plane. Remember, you can go to add as well, mesh plane up top here. And that creates our plane down the bottom here. I can press full stop on my numpad to zoom into that, period key to reference, and my shortcut keys are kind of behind this dialog box at the moment. I'll just minimize that, and they're down here. So with our plane selected, let's go into edit mode with tab, and I'm going to make the shape of the tile from the top view. So I'll press Ctrl R and do 2 loop cuts down this side. So I've used my wheel to create 2 loop cuts. And if I left click once, I can move those cuts, or right click, press Ctrl R and do 2 loop cuts down this side. So I've used my wheel to create 2 loop cuts. And if I left click once, I can move those cuts, or right click to keep them in the same place. Now you can see I'm on vertex mode at the moment, so 1, 2, and 3 are vertex edges and faces. So I'll select these 2 front vertices and pull them out, so grab in the Y axis. Just pull them out to there. So this will be the top of my tile and this will be the front. I'm not going to make it solid yet. I'm going to come out of object mode and duplicate that. So tab out of object mode, duplicate with shift D, and then X to just pull it over to the side. And one more duplicate, shift D, X and pull it out to the side. So I'm going to create 3 variations of tiles, and then we can link them all together and adapt them as we see fit. So the first one I want a little nick in here. Let's press Ctrl R, create a loop cut just there, and bring it down a touch, and then press K on my keyboard, and K is the knife tool. Can you see how it's following my edges with a green square? So wherever I click, it will create new topology. So I'm creating some random topology at the moment. Once you finish, you press enter, and you can see it's created those cuts. I'll undo that for a moment. I'll press K again to get to my knife tool once again. Now you can cut from anywhere, so look, at the moment I'm cutting in all different places. And if you don't like a cut, you can right click and cancel it. It's also worth saying you have your controls along the bottom here, and that's true for any tool you have selected. And if I cut like this, I create lots of n-gons, which are faces with more than 4 edges, and they can cause me problems later on. I'll undo that once again. What I'm trying to do, if I press K again, and this is why I created this loop cut, is to create a cut in here, and then I can delete this face, and I've still got quads everywhere. So if I go into the knife tool again, generally what you're trying to do is keep to where the vertices are, so cuts between 2 vertices, and you can see how it snaps to the different vertices. It is okay if you have to create some triangles or n-gons, but generally speaking you want to try and avoid them where you can. I'll do that last bit, go to face mode, select that face and delete the face. So we've got a tiny nick there, and I'll just bring that in by grabbing a bit. For the next 2, I'll just adapt the shape slightly, so they're a little less uniform. So I want to solidify these. I could use the solidify modifier over here.
Okay, let me try that. He's in object mode. Okay, so I need to, how does he, okay, that was a lot easier than I thought. Shift right click to move the 3D cursor, or whatever that's called. So I need to add a plane. Why did that go so low? Because my 3D cursor is so low. Alright, so selected. He made a loop cut, loop cut, loop cut. Wait, hold on. Let me make all these. fairly certain loop cuts are Control R. Hold on. Blender loop cut shortcut. Control R. Edge, bing, 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 bong. Okay. And then he loop cut this way. Sorry. Oops. So then he's K and like sliced off a corner. Get rid of the knife. Escape. Okay. Oops.
Got quads everywhere. Problems later on. Tool you have selected. From anywhere, so at the moment I'm cutting an ornament. Wherever I click, it will create on my keyboard, and K is the knife tool. Can you see how it's following my edges with a green square? So wherever I click, it will create new topology. So I'm creating some random topology at the moment. Once you finish, you press enter, and you can see it's created those cuts. I'll undo that for a moment. I'll press K again to get to my knife tool once again. Now you can cut from anywhere, so at the moment I'm cutting. It's also worth saying, and that's true for any tool you have selected. I'll undo that once again. Is key to the different version.
So sorry. So the one thing he's explaining is that with this, like, with the knife tool, you can cut anywhere on it, like here, 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 whatever. But the issue with that is if you, when you do that, and you make like a triangle, you make like a triangle like this, you end up with this face having 5 sides, and I'm not sure where you run into issues with that later on, but I don't want to find out, and that's what he's warning about, so I'm just gonna try to steer clear of 5-sided faces and polygons and stuff.
It is okay if you have to create some triangles or n-gons, but generally speaking, you want to try and avoid them where you can. I'll do that last bit, go to face mode, select that face and delete the face. So we've got a tiny bit there, and I'll just bring that in by grabbing a bit. For the next two, I'll just adapt the shape slightly. so they're a little less uniform. So if I want to solidify these, I could use the solidify modifier over here. And you can see the thickness being created there. I don't actually want to do that, so I'm going to just close that down, because it's actually easier to select all three at the same time with Shift, go into edit mode, select all the faces, so faces with 3, and then A to select all, and E to extrude, rather than going to each shape and doing a solidify modifier. But just to make you aware that it's there. So we've got 3 tiles that we can adapt. I'm going to go into object mode and just bring them together. So G then X, and G then X, and then round the front view, roughly, rotate, so they're going to sit on top. Like so. Now these are sort of very thick and chunky, but that's the style I'm going for. Also, you'll probably notice that I'm not beveling the edges. I feel a bit like the roof tiles don't really need it, and they can just have that sort of chunky look. So now I can select all 3, I can go to top view, Shift D to duplicate, and just look at my shape and see how far I need to go. Somewhere around there. Now at this point you might want to look at a reference image. The one I'm looking at is this one here, and you can see how they're all slotted in together and quite higgledy-piggledy. My original has them a bit more uniform, but I think I prefer this one in some ways, so I might adapt my idea slightly. But the important thing is that you do look at your reference images regularly to kind of keep you grounded in the style. So let's select all these, Shift D to duplicate, and I want to bring them out to the front, so if I tap Y now, I can bring them forwards. And if I go to side view, I can start creating that tilt. So rotate and then tilt them around. At the moment they're very uniform still, so I can box select these bottom set, grab and move them across a little bit, and then sort of overlap them like this here. Select that first one again, top view, Shift D to duplicate, and bring them down there. Side view, just to make sure that's in line. Back to top view, and let's start adapting our shape again a bit. So I've got 3 rows of tiles, and I think that's about right, so this should be fine, but I may need to adjust the shape slightly. So let's go back into top view and start moving some of these around. Again, there's lots of ways to do this. I'll choose a slightly different way this time. So I'm going to select them all, I'm going to join them together with Control J, so that joins all your objects together, and now it becomes one object. I can go into edit mode and move aspects of the shape around, but what I can do is go up to sculpting. Now if you're not particularly interested in sculpting, then you can skip the step and just use proportional editing as we did in the last episode. So sculpting at the top here, just to show you something different, let's click on that tab to enter sculpt mode, and now I can start pulling these shapes around, but I'm on my draw brush at the moment, so it'll just draw across the shapes. I don't want that one, I want the grab brush here, and that will just grab vertices and pull them around, so I can just adapt the shape slightly. So big shapes to start with, and just make them less uniform, and then I can make my brush smaller with F, and I can come in and adapt some of these areas as I see fit. I quite like the sculpting workflow, I find it more arty, but you can use proportional editing if you like. This is just to show you the differences and the different options. Remember to go your object with different angles.
Actually, let me. I should switch like some, at least 2.
And there we've got a nice bit of variation. So let's go back to the layout mode. If I want to separate these once again, I can go into edit mode, select all, and P for separate will give you this option. And loose parts, because they are still loose parts, so click on that, and now each of them are separated. The only problem with this is that they all share this pivot point here, so I'm selecting on each of them and they all share the same pivot point. So that was the last object we selected when we joined, so the pivot point became that point. We can change that by selecting all, here to object, set object origin, and origin to geometry. And then it goes to their geometry, and they're all back to where they were. So you can do some more finite editing at this point, and I'm really playing now with the sizes and shapes in line with my reference image that I used. I'm doing this all in object mode, but you can do this in edit mode. I'm just finding it a bit easier, and I'm rescaling in different axes and really changing the shapes.
I'm just gonna leave it as is.
So there I've got some nice random roof tiles. Now what you might find, although all my tiles are all separate up the top here, I think it's actually easier if they are one object. It's easier to edit. We can do what's called a lattice a bit later on. So I'm going to select them all again and Control J to join, Control J. Now I came up with an error. A message, and the reason was that I selected it all, but I didn't seem to have an active object. Sometimes you have to have one object that's active, and you can just activate that by selecting it last. And Blender does look for the last selected object as its reference point, and you can see that object is highlighted in yellow. So when I press Control J now, the pivot point becomes the same as that point. I think it would be useful to have a pivot point in the middle, so up to object mode, set origin to geometry, and then it's back in the center. So there's a different creation method than one I used up here. You don't have to join them all together and go into sculpt mode. You can use proportional editing like we did with the stones. Remember your
This moment called a tutorial. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm sure I said something, and in the moment, it makes sense, but I have no idea what you're talking about. But, thank you for the follow.
proportional editing tool is up here, and that affects you when you're in edit mode and you want to grab an object. You've got the circle of influence like this. And again, I find it easier when they're all joined together for that. If you don't want to keep separating them and joining them together again, you can press L over different areas to select link object, and double tap A to deselect all, or Alt A. So there's my tiles. I'm going to hide these ones up here. I've organised them into collections. And remember to do that, you select the objects you want to move and press M to move them to a collection, and you can create a new collection at the bottom here. So select your objects and press M. That gives you the options over here where you can hide different areas that you need to. I'm going to move this into a new collection, so M, new collection, and this is going to be called roof tiles 2. And press OK. So with the old tiles, I'll hide them, and I'll move these into position. Easiest in side view, so free on my numpad, grab it into position. Notice the circle here because I still have proportional editing turned on. Rotate it into place. Full stop on my numpad to zoom in, and let's get a bit more accurate with this. I want them on top of my frame, somewhere around there. I'm going to have to scale it up a bit. I'm going to scale it all together. Just have a good look around, make sure you're happy with that. And before I copy this across to the other side, can you see how the top has a slight slope to it? And you do get that sometimes with sort of medieval buildings. They sort of sink in and the wood warps. So I want to do the same with my roof tiles to follow that curve. So what I could use is the bend modifier, or the simple deform. But I want to show you something else which is called a lattice. So shift right click to bring my cursor to my object, shift A, and down in the middle is lattice. I can scale my lattice up to surround my roof tiles, so scaling in the X as well. And I do want to rotate it so it's the same angle as my tiles. And now if I scale and press Y twice, it keeps to its local axis because it's being rotated and it knows that still it's the local Y axis. Don't panic too much if that doesn't make sense, but the more you hear these things, the more you'll understand. So I'm just moving this to encompass all my roof tiles. And I'm going to scale in the Z local axis, so Z twice, S then Z twice. And that brings it in. Now I've got lots of tools with my lattice down here. So this is the object data tab, and it changes depending on what type of object you've got selected. Now there's something called resolution, and if I bring up the resolution to 5, that will give it 5 segments across the middle. I can also change the other axes as well. So now what I want to do is link my roof tiles to this lattice. So when I change the lattice, it will deform my object. So I select the roof tiles first and the lattice last, so that's my active object, and press Control P for parent, so set parent. Then you've got lattice deform here. And now when I edit this shape in edit mode, selecting the points and grabbing them, you can see that it forms my shape inside. So into front view, and with those vertices selected, I can move the lattice around. And you can see my circle of influence from my proportional editing there, which is helping me. So I'll just stop selecting the different vertices and pulling them into position. Now my lattice at the moment is in the wood collection by accident, so I can move my lattice by M and then move it to the roof tiles, which would make more sense. And in my roof tiles collection, you can see the lattice there, and it's got my plane within the lattice. So I like the way this is looking, but I do need to adjust my frame slightly to adapt to this curve. I think that will look better. So I'm going to click on the lattice and press H to hide, and then go into my wood, ink in, and the wood warps. So I want to do the same with my roof tiles to follow that curve. So what I could use is the bend modifier, or the simple deform, but I want to show you something else which is called a lattice. So shift right click to bring my cursor to my object, shift A, and down in the middle is lattice.
All right. So let me talk a little bit about where I'm at. So my roof tiles are not entirely uniform. They are mostly uniform. His have a little bit more. Excuse me. His have a little bit more variety in shape. He scaled them along different axes to fill up some of these holes, which is what I'm trying to do. But it's getting a little bit late, so I think I'm gonna call the stream here. And let me save my work. So next stream tomorrow, I will definitely finish this roof. I almost entirely got done tutorial 2. I guess all I have to do is really, like I said, fill up some of the cracks in these tiles and make it a little bit more unique. And then if you heard in the tutorial, I just have to basically create a little bit of a arc in the roof, because that's more realistic for how I guess rain would affect this type of roof. Like in the real world, in like a medieval setting where something like this would be actually found. So anyway, I'm going to try to do that, and then I'm not sure what else there is to do to complete the roof for in terms of what the tutorial wants me to do to have me officially complete part 2. But I'm happy to be back, happy to be working with Blender again. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for the new follower, another chat. Things are picking up pretty well with the Twitch. I'm going to I'm going to create a Twitch channel in the Discord for the new NFT project, so hopefully we'll start getting a little bit more traffic to these videos. Just trying to be as open as possible as we can with our process and what we're doing. So hopefully these help with that. Anyway, I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of their night and a great week. And yeah, I hope everything goes well. Alright, have a good one.